Hello and welcome to the video for Thursday, October 22nd for Advanced Web Design. Let you guys in from the waiting room. Hello. How you guys doing? Hello, hello. I'm good, Trevor. I hope you're doing well too. Hey, well, let's see. Happy week before Halloween to you guys. How you doing? What's new out there?
Not much.
Same old?
Yeah.
Okay, that's exciting. I know, that's kind of my life too. It's like, maybe that's why I ask you guys what's new, because there's never anything new in my life.
Doing a website transfer was kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, how'd that go?
It took a little while, mainly because the transfer itself can take up to a few days, and I'm going to go over that here shortly. But
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna kind of go over, is how I had to go through the transfer of the website.
Okay, well, so you have a presentation about that, right?
Yeah, I didn't necessarily create any presentation, but I have the website pulled up and everything for SiteGround and everything, and I'm gonna kind of go through all the kind of parameters and all that stuff with transfer. Okay. So
cool. All right. Let's see now. Trevor says he's trying to get a costume together for a party. Oh. So what kind of costume are you gonna put together, Trevor? Do you know what it's going to be yet? You got a vampire on vacation. So what is it, like a vampire that's wearing like a Bermuda hat and has like a Hawaiian shirt on, or that kind of thing? Where would a vampire go on vacation? Let's see, Hawaiian shirt, sandals, and fangs. Oh, that sounds good. Beaches at night. Okay, sounds good to me. Yeah. So, okay, let me go ahead and put you guys into the attendance, and then we can do some presentations. So pima.edu and logging in.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Dylan, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Are you getting any kind of Halloween costume together?
I'm not really sure yet.
Okay.
Dylan's gonna go as Trevor.
Yeah, that would be a good costume.
I do that on the daily though.
Yeah.
I break the law, I get pulled over. I'm like, who's that guy? Or, you know, my name's Trevor, not Dylan.
I remember this is how not up with things that I am. I remember walking around Pima College for a couple of years, and every now and then I would see a guy that looked like Dylan sitting on a chair. I'd be like, man, that guy looks a lot like Dylan. I should tell Dylan he's got this little doppelganger running around, right? And that happened for a couple of years. And it wasn't until they were both in my class, I'm like, oh, wait, there's two of them. Yeah, so I'm pretty quick on the uptake there. All right, let's see. So Sean, are you ready to do your thing?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Okay, so you want to share your screen?
Yeah, give me just 1 second. Let me. So I know what I'm looking at. There we go. Okay. Oh, I guess I have to turn on my.
So while he's getting that ready, Daniel, I have you down for a presentation too. Did you put one together?
Yeah, I just basically finished throwing it together right now. But
okay.
Yeah, it's in my folder.
Okay. So we'll let Sean do his and then you can do yours. Unless, Sean, do you need more time? Do you want Daniel to do his first?
Yeah, go ahead and let him do this because this is weird what I'm looking at right now.
Okay. So did you want me to bring yours up from your folder, Daniel, or do you want to share your screen?
Figure you might as well bring it up from the folder.
All right. Okay, let's see. So we go to Pima. We search for Daniel or D Streeter. And we find this. Okay, so I've got something called D Streeter presentation, which is, well, that's April 1st. That can't be it. Okay, here's the 257 folder. Okay, here's one called presentation 319. Yep, that's got to be it. So let me open that up. And then go to the screen sharing love. Here we go, sharing the screen. All right, so do you want to just do this and then I'll move the slides forward kind of thing?
Okay.
All right, whenever you're ready.
All right. So how to count on your fingers, the way Masahiro Sakurai would recommend. Next slide. So there should be an illustration here of hands, showing the numbers, counting fingers, but I am behind the time. So anyhow, usually when you're counting your fingers, you don't think too much about it. You just raise one finger for each number until you have 10 fingers up. But which actually is the same as a unary numeral system, where the only digits for any number are just ones. So it's just like basically you're just creating a longer number. So like 10 is 10 digits long. It's like 10 ones. But the thing is, if you think about it, next slide. Next slide. Sorry. Yeah. So if you think about it, if you think of like a raised finger as a 1 and a lowered finger as a 0, then you could show binary numbers on your hands, up to 8 digits. Not 10 because you're making so many weird shapes with your fingers that you have to have your thumbs to hold them down, and there really should be a graphic here explaining this, but that was too slow. But if you look it up, there's explanations online probably. I haven't really listened to too many of them, but anyhow, man, I should prepare a script for this. I was just expecting it would just be read out by the people. Anyhow, so with counting on your fingers in binary, you can actually get all the way up to 255. There are 256 combinations of having your fingers up and down, and if you count just the first one where all your fingers are down to 0, then that brings you down to 255. Next slide. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to show here, actually, better illustration, but here's what I have. So basically, with binary, basically you read it, kind of, the lowest value, kind of how it is with, numbers we read. The lowest value is, the number on the far right. That's like the ones place, and then, in decimal, the number system is, it's, actually the tens place, and the hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. So on. In binary, it's instead of powers by 10, 1, 10, 100, 1,000, it's powers of 2. So basically, like any one of these columns that you see, the red numbers that a 1 is in, it's like 2 to that power. So it's like the one on the far left is like the 128 place. So if there's a 1 there, then 128 will be in your total. Well, you see where there's that 0, where there's the times 8, that's the 8th place, and it's empty, so that doesn't get added. If you look at the bottom, it's all the values where there's a 1, they get transferred over, you add them together, and get that, which is horribly explained. My apologies, but luckily, there are a lot of good videos explaining it elsewhere. Next slide. So at first, it seemed probably kind of weird, but the more you do it, the more familiar it becomes as far as, getting used to reading binary. First of all, after a while, you just, get used to seeing those combinations of 1s and 0s, and you just automatically know what the number is without having to, do all the addition, figure it out. Also, one thing that makes it easier is, even though the numbers themselves don't match, decimal ones, you can still do, multiply them by each other the same way. Like here, for example, you've got 1,100 or 1,100 is what it looks like in decimal, but in binary that's 24. Thing is, in binary, two ones, or the 11, what looks like an 11 is a 3, and then what looks like a 100 is an 8. And so if you look at it that way, is kind of the 1 being 3 and 100 being 8. And if you multiply them, you get 1100, kind of like 11 times 100 makes 1100. That's the same as 3 times 8, 24. And you can, this goes on basically in a combination where you've got a double 1 and then the rest are zeros. Or you could do it where double 1, you could do that times 3, and then when there are other numbers, you could like add those ones in. As far as like your fingers, you got to make some pretty weird shapes, but it actually feels really it's like it becomes surprisingly intuitive with time. Like so like it's probably best to do it with your palms facing towards you, and your your palms of your thumbs towards you, and then starting looking at the index finger of your right hand is going to be the what's called the least significant bit. It's the smallest value. Anyhow, and that one, that finger, you're going to be every single number you count, it's either going to go up or go down because it's adding one to it basically. The thing is, it's kind of like almost like dominoes, because you have to drive, but it's kind of it's like kind of like the ones get pushed further and further into your hand from that one, and it's surprising. Sorry, like surprising like how quickly it kind of catches on. Like, feels like some kind of cascade that's happening. Next slide. So there is one problem with doing this, and that is at any given time you have any combination of your fingers up or down, which includes combinations where your middle finger is up by itself. So it's usually probably if you're in the middle of counting on your fingers like this, it's probably best you're probably staring off into space. But I would suggest turning your head and your hands down towards the floor, just so that someone on the other side of the room does not get the wrong idea. Yeah, that's it.
All right, very nice. Now I was trying this as you were talking, and so like, am I to assume that this is 1 like that? Okay. So you're right. It's very intuitive. So I would go like 1, and then I would go 2, and then I would go 3, and then I would go 4, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, kind of pushing it along, almost like kind of like stacking dominoes where if, like when they fall over, if it hits one that's down, that one pops up. Yeah, that's exactly right the way that you were doing it.
That's a cool system. And like if you had to count a bunch of something, it's a much quicker way to make that happen.
Yeah, and even if you aren't used to like with the binary numbers, I mean, you could still count that way with your fingers, write down the ones and zeros, and then like add them up later. If so whenever you're counting something big for a project or something.
Okay, very nice. Thank you, Daniel. I like that. That's cool. I'm gonna try and get good at that so I can use it. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna close this slide down, and then
is that considered numerology then?
Is that what?
Is that considered a part of numerology then?
I don't think so, but I don't know. We can look it up. I think numerology is like using numbers from
oh yeah,
to predict the future and the fates and all that. Let's look it up.
There's like various different types, but yeah.
Yeah, let's look it up. So Wikipedia.org. Okay, numerology is any belief in the divine or mystical relationship between a number and one or more coinciding events. It is also the study of the numerical values of the letters and words, names, and ideas. It is often associated with the paranormal alongside astrology and similar divinatory arts. Despite the long history of numerological ideas, the word numerology is not recorded in English before 1907. See, the term numerologist can be used for those who place faith in numerical patterns and draw pseudo-scientific inferences from them, even if those people do not practice traditional numerology. For example, in his 1997 book, Numerology or What Pythagoras Wrought, mathematician Underwood Dudley uses the term to discuss practitioners of the Elliott wave principle of stock market analysis. Wow. So, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I would kind of guess that numerology could kind of be defined as like almost a form of superstition, like, saying that 7 is your lucky number. And so, you're not going to find the right girlfriend until girlfriend number 7, or you're going to move into a house where the address is 777, that kind of thing.
Like numbers that you can't escape.
Yeah, like they called it a pseudoscience, which means a fake science. And that's where there's not really any scientific evidence that proves it. And so they put things like astrology in that category because astrology is a belief system that's not really backed up by science. But it's interesting. I had an astronomy teacher at Pima who he spent part of the semester teaching us about how bogus astrology was. Because a lot of people who are in the hard sciences, well, not a lot, but a certain amount of people in the hard sciences, they consider their duty to go out and disprove what the pseudosciences, because it sort of gives the real sciences a bad name. And like, for example, Houdini was like this. Houdini, not only was he a famous magician and escape artist, but he would also bust, fake psychics and paranormal people who said they could predict the future or read your fortune or whatever, and he would expose them as fakes because he thought they were taking advantage of people. And actually, there was a famous magician who just died who did that. Let me see, famous magician dies. Let's see. I haven't read the article about him yet. Yeah, this is him. His name is James Randi. He's a famed magician and skeptic. So, yeah, like I said, there's certain people like, magicians and scientists who, they find it a calling to go out and expose, false sciences because they're taking advantage of folks. Anyway, interesting
Isn't that
stuff.
technically what magicians do?
What's that?
Isn't that technically what magicians do?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They create a false science and basically dupe you.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Meckler. Yeah, that was him, Trevor. You had him too? Is he still teaching? When did you have him for astrology? Astronomy, I mean. That was a hard class, man. I took that class, like half the people in there took the class because they thought it would be easy, and it was like not.
Was there a bunch of like math in it or something?
Yeah, there's like physics or something. I don't remember what it was, but I was like, oh my God. But the teacher was really charming. He had a really interesting personality. He was really smart. And so it was just a fun class. So I just, survived it somehow. All right. How you doing, Sean? Are you thinking?
Yeah, I think I was just having trouble screen share with other oh, somebody else is sharing right now.
Oh, I stopped. So go ahead and try sharing.
Let me see. What's weird is it keeps bringing up like outlandish amounts of options for me. Hopefully, I don't. Okay. I need to grant access to it. Give me 1 second.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me see. I thought I gave everybody access. Yeah, you have access.
I know. I need to grant access to it, I guess, because my thing doesn't want to share for some reason. Okay, here we go. Should be able to. Okay, it's not letting me for some reason.
Not letting you share?
No.
Okay. Well, I'll
Well,
tell you, I'll tell
I
you what.
can go over the steps that I did, if nothing else. And if you want to bring up, I mean, you've used SiteGrounds before, so you probably know what. At least bring up maybe you just bring up the website, the page where it talks about website transfers.
Okay, I can try that. So let's see.
I was going to bring it up under the username that I have for my client, but so I can just like step through all the website and everything. But I guess.
Okay, well, I'm trying to log into SiteGround right now, and then. Okay, so let's see. So now we go to websites. Okay, and then control panel. So let's see. You want me to go to?
There should be. Hold on. Let me look at the page.
Well, here I can. Let me share my screen, and then you can see what I got up here.
Okay. Let me look back at you.
I've got a WordPress toolkit. Oh, WordPress migrator. That's it, right?
Well, that is something that you use during the transfer during the transfer, but that's not the transfer itself. Hold on one second. It is under. What did I click on in order to get to it? Let me look here. All right, so I'm on my.siteground.com, and that's of course the dashboard. Oh my God, this thing's moving so slow. All right, and then if you go to the main thing where it says hello, it probably says hello, Greg, I assume.
Yeah.
There should be a spot where it says there's like a step forward that says transfer domain. But then again, you might not even have that anymore because it's still fairly new.
All right. Well, let me try and log back in again.
This cPanel, not something different?
cPanel is different, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to click login, and then me, and then login.
All right, let's see what it should be. The first page it takes you to, I think.
All right, here's the screen. So where do I go?
Yeah. Okay. So if you look at okay, right there, transfer your domains.
Oh, okay.
Well, obviously, we're not going to do it, but
all right.
Can we
so
use
I got a bunch of
okay
domains here. Let's see. Okay, let's say we want to do TucsonRecordingStudios.com. Can I hit continue?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Mind you, I only did this with one domain, so I didn't have the option to change a bunch of domains.
Right. So you check your status.
Right.
Okay, I'll let you tell us what to do.
So anyways, kind of what I had to do throughout this whole thing, before you kind of get started, one of the things that you need to do before this is to go make sure that domain is unlocked. Like if you look at that where it says domain locked right there. And you have to do that through whatever, let's say you're not, I used 101 domain prior to moving to SiteGround. So what I had to do is I had to go to 101 domain and I had to go, I believe it was an enable, disable type deal. Are you about to go show us an example? Is that what you're about to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just have to remember my damn username.
And the transfer is what takes the longest, is transferring the domain itself. Takes up to, I think it can take up to, how long was it? It usually takes about 5 days. It can take up to a couple weeks, I think. I think it's 2 weeks it can take up to.
Okay, so I went over to GoDaddy where I have my domain name.
Let's see here.
Here we go, domain lock on.
Yeah. So if you go and edit that, you can turn off that so that you can.
All right, and it says pending, accept request update is pending, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then that takes a day or two, or you said?
No, that shouldn't take that long. That didn't take me that long. It's there it goes. So it's off now. What's going to take a while is the transfer itself. The once you start the page transfer, obviously you're not going to be transferring domains here, but once you once you go check status on this one, it should say that it's unlocked now. Oh, it's still locked.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
cannot be turned. Well, once you get that thing unlocked, you're able to make the transfer, and you fill out a bunch of. I think you fill out, if I recall correctly, it was an application that I had to fill out that essentially took me from being a 101 customer to being a SiteGround customer. And setting all that stuff up. It took me one thing that freaked me out about it was how long it did take, because I was thinking it'd be almost like instantaneous. I think the least it will take is like 48 hours, generally speaking.
okay.
Um,
So this is,
I'm sorry, Megan.
okay. So this is just to transfer the domain name, and then did you transfer a website as well?
I did, yes. So that was a little confusing too, because I wasn't sure if I needed to wait till the domain was done before I could start doing that, which you do need to do that. Well, you can start getting your website put in place, but you're not going to be able to actually have the website show up, obviously, until you have the domain. So what I ended up having to do was I ended up taking, the website was created by a third party and given to me in order to basically put on a file manager on the website and get it set up that way, which is what I did. I set it up on the file manager. I ended up so I put the zip file into the file manager. Okay, don't unzip it first. Zip file into the file manager, because that was something I had a little trouble on, because I didn't know why it wasn't working at first, and then when I realized I needed to just give it the zip file, that's what you do. You give it the zip file. Also, the zip file should have an SQL file in it as well, which the SQL is your database for your website. Which I had some trouble with the database thing, mainly because I couldn't figure out how to get it uploaded, and then I realized it was already uploaded with the zip file itself. So just make sure you go into your zip file, and if you ever have to like transfer a website that you didn't make, just make sure you go into that zip file, make sure you have everything, because you might already have everything inside that file.
Okay, and there's also a link here. It says visit our knowledge base, and it looks like specifically if you're using SiteGround, they have a bunch of questions and answers here.
It's great. I was able to really bear down on their chat room thing. I was really using it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I use SiteGround, because you can always get people to talk to you for as long as you need. Okay, and so then you went over to the transfer after a couple days?
Yes. So once I got the website transferred, that's when I was able to kind of start kind of implementing everything. That's when I was able to I was able to get WordPress set up. Mind you, it didn't migrate with WordPress, so I don't know exactly how the migrator works. Maybe that's
okay,
something for another day. I wish I had a better answer for that. I didn't have to migrate WordPress. It ended up already being there once I transferred the web. It was already all there, I guess, or something. I don't know how that ended up happening, but so yeah, I mean that was pretty easy. WordPress, everything can be used from SiteGround, and it's pretty easy. So,
well, it looks here like if you want to use the tool in SiteGround, which is called the WordPress Migrator, they have a big tutorial right here for it. So this is the way that you would migrate or transfer a WordPress site from a different server to SiteGround, to your SiteGround account. So if any of you guys are in the market to do that, there's plenty of information here. If you're worried about an undertaking like this, always check with the tech support first. They can kind of either walk you through it or point you in the direction of where you need to go to get the information you need.
It's surprisingly a very heavy undertaking.
Transferring. Yeah, it is, and it's I've never had a perfect one. I mean, WordPress is supposed to be like, oh, it's seamless, just transfer it to this place and it'll look identical, and it never works out that way. You always got to give yourself plenty of time, and then you learn things like you said, like you learn that the domain transfer alone can take a couple days, so you got to know to get that happening first, and then you can transfer the files. You have to know how to export the files from the existing WordPress site, and how to make sure that the database is set up in the new account and everything. Now, most website hosts will transfer a website to themselves if you're starting up a new account. So you can save potentially a lot of issues if you, like, let's say there's a client and they say, hey, I want you to redesign my website, but first I want to take my existing website and move it to a new server. Do you know any good ones? And let's say, for example, you like SiteGround. You could say, yeah, I like SiteGround. Here's their pricing. And they'll transfer your website over for free. And so they're like, okay, cool, let's do that. So they give you all the information to access their site. They give you their credit card information so you can sign up for a SiteGround account. So you sign up for a SiteGround account, you talk to the techs there, and you're like, hey, my understanding is if I get this account with you guys, that you'll transfer over one website for free. And they're like, yeah, we have this migration tool we use. It's really great. So, then you arrange with them to do that. They bring it over, you check it out. If there's any problems with it, then you talk to them, they fix it, and you eventually get it squared away. Now, they did that with me. I was on Host Monster for years, and I became really disgruntled with them because they did the same thing that every web host I've ever been on. The same thing happened to them that happened to every web host I've ever been on, which is you get on them and they start out being good, and then after a certain amount of time they get bought by a bigger company, and the bigger company bought Host Monster and doubled the price of the service, and then cut the support staff in half, to make money, and so the service was horrible. So I went to SiteGround partially because they have the reputation of having the best tech support service in the industry, in the web hosting industry, and I wanted good tech support, and even they, though, I have this really complicated website because it has like several dozen websites inside of it. So my directory has all these different websites in it, and so I said, I hear you guys will move our website, if I sign up. They're like, yeah, sure, no problem. And so they did it, but because it's so complicated, a bunch of things got jacked up. So, I went in and I had to talk to them, and I say, these are all these sites are not working. And it was like the same issue with most of them. So the guy had to go in and like literally replace just one file in every directory to get them all working again. But, sometimes even the good tech support needs a little help, right?
I don't think they do the migration for free anymore, though.
Oh, really? Oh, because now they have the migration tool?
It's like $30. If they do it for you, it's $30.
Oh, okay. Well,
Kind of a ripoff, if you ask me.
yeah, well, yeah. But then again, if it's the first time you're doing it or you're doing it for a client, sometimes it's worth the peace of mind.
Well, if you talk to them enough, they're basically doing it for you. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll
Right.
sit there and like walk you through the day.
They're just filling out, they're just going into this tool and doing it properly, right? Yeah. So yeah, it might be worth it for yourself to do a test site, to transfer a test site over. And if you get that working, then you can do anybody's, right? Save yourself $30. Go get a pizza and for $30 in celebration. Okay. Well, thank you, Sean. Thanks. That's interesting stuff. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the class website here. And okay, so you guys know that your websites are due a week from today, and I want to check in with you guys and see can we look at some of your sites and see anything new, or is anybody having any problems they want to talk about? What's going on with you guys? Trevor has some new stuff. Okay, so let's see, Trevor, do I know your URL? Is it like let's see, Pima cc.web or pimaccweb.com/Trevor. Okay. Oh, cool. You're using that, what's it called? Social warfare plugin, right? Okay, cool. Wow. What is this with the drops? What's doing all that? That's crazy. Different colors. It's a plugin. Yeah. That's kind of cool. Okay. So Doom Crew, Clothing Reimagined, The World's on Fire sale. So we got that plugin. We've got these plugins down here. That's pretty funny. because you got the drippy thing, and now you got drips going down this way as well. Okay, all right. So you said mostly plugins. So are there any other things I should look at? Any other pages? Got to get the drip. Okay. Let's see. My only complaint is they only give you a few shapes to choose from. Yeah, that is kind of a bit of a drag, but it's still kind of cool. Is it only on the front page? No, it's on every page. Is there but not the shop. Okay. So you put it on a couple pages. Okay. Yeah, is there any sort of timing for that? Like, maybe you don't know, but like, could you have it go for a certain amount of time and then stop? And he said, yeah. Okay, yeah, because I would think that like it's like a cool technique and everything, but I would think after a few moments, you'd be like, okay, that's cool. Now I want to see the content. You know what I mean? I don't know about stopping, but you can slow it down. Like slow it down to 1 every 10 minutes or something like that. So it appears that it stopped. Okay, that sounds reasonable. Enter if you dare, and then that takes us to here. Okay. I heard something about some sports figure earned everybody in America a taco the other day. I don't know what it was. I didn't read the details, but I guess somebody stole a base or something, and as a result, Taco Bell was giving a free taco to everybody in America. I don't know. I don't watch sports, but I just saw that headline. Maybe one of you guys knows. Okay. Well, this is looking good. The store's looking good. I got a good looking contact page. Maybe, make sure that you don't have these guys above and below everything, maybe just one or the other. And then, Trevor, maybe you want to look into how you can minimize the size of these things. I never got that deep into it, but it would be nice if they were just little, like half an inch or quarter, icons there instead of taking up the whole page. Or at least I was going to look into that and see about it. Okay. I'll cash my taco in for $1. All right. Okay, looks good. All right, who else? How are you guys doing on your websites? You have anything you want to show us? You want some feedback? You have a problem? What's going on? Anybody? Okay.
I had an issue with my header image redirecting itself to the home page when getting clicked on, but I fixed that earlier.
Oh, okay, so you're good. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll go ahead and move on to some other stuff. If you guys have something you want to talk about, just put something in the chat or let me know and we can talk about it.
I'm throwing up a couple things right now, so maybe in like 10-15 minutes I can look at it.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to talk to you guys about some different articles that appear here. This first one is talking about what makes a website visually appealing. And now some of this is ground that has been covered already in presentations that were done, but some of it is newish, and hopefully you'll get enough information from talking about these different articles to make it worth your while. But it says this article breaks down the 4 basics to great visual design for any website. So we've got design and color, pictures and graphics, usability, and consistency. So it says communicate credibility within a culture created either by time, space, or industry. A language is a set of rules for effective communication. You can have an amazing product, but if no one understands what you're saying, then you won't sell it. And if you want to package your brand, product, or idea in a way that communicates care, quality, and trust, you have to nail the 4 basics. Get this, according to the Stanford Persuasive Technology Labs, 46% of site visitors say a website's design, including font size, color scheme, layout, and site navigation, is the #1 criterion for discerning the credibility of the company. So, do you guys feel like that's true with you guys?
I think so.
Like when I go to a website, like I told you guys, I think I told you in the past that I initially didn't want to go with SiteGround because their logo sucks so much. Look at this logo. This is honestly one of the worst logos I've ever run into in my life. This logo actually, I think it gave me a liver infection. I'm not quite sure, but like that font is just, I don't know what they're thinking. And I have no idea what this icon is supposed to be. It's just like, it's almost like an anti-logo.
It's like just barely not Comic Sans.
Yeah, it's like a logo that's melting, that's in need of help. Now, who was my other choice? It was, oh yeah, I was deciding between two companies, this one and WP Engine, right? And let's go look at WP Engine. Look at WP Engine's logo, right? That's a pretty sweet logo. I mean, it looks like somebody put some thought into it. They've got, you know, highlighted letters and not highlighted, you know, bold and regular letters. They've got some kind of icon over here. I'm not quite sure what it means, but overall, this is, you know, like, okay, let's just compare the front of each of these websites. Let me log out of this SiteGround. Okay, give me just siteground.com. Okay, once again, so you're making a decision about who's going to host your website, and you do the research and you narrow it down like I did to two companies, SiteGround and WP Engine. And one company's website looks like this. Let me make my let me make it the actual size just to be fair. Okay, so that is SiteGround's homepage, right? And then this is WP Engine's. I mean, come on, like this is so cool. Look at that exploding galaxy back there, you know? Anyway, I think that's proof of the pudding of what we just read, that 46% of the people equate the look and feel of the website with the credibility of the company. Now, it turns out that SiteGround is, in fact, very good, but they just have, you know, they're not putting their money into their front end graphics, I think. Okay. Let's see. And according to 3M, human beings process visuals 60 times faster than text. Wow, isn't that interesting? So that tells me that the visuals on your website are more important than the text on your website, right? Especially since people don't read a lot of text on websites, they kind of scan the text. It says that means within a fraction of a second, half of all your visitors decide that they can't trust you purely based on what they see and not what you say. You can't afford to be losing half your site visitors every day. So how do we fix this? Let's dig into the 4 key features that make a website visually appealing. Okay, so we have design and color. Now, it says the first step to making a website visually appealing are the colors you design with. It's what first catches your eye as you bypass a bus. It's what makes you pause when flipping through your Facebook feed. Color catches the eye and provides an instant layer of communication. Even before the conscious mind has started thinking, the subconscious has already assessed if something is interesting or not purely based on colors. Our brains are sense-making machines. They like to organize stuff so that it can be processed. But the subconscious communicates in impressions. It intuits a whole realities that your mind has to break down later. That's the world of color. Here's an infographic that gives a good sense of how color implies meaning. Now, we've seen this stuff before in presentations, but you know, the psychology of color, some interesting statistics here. 84.7% of consumers cite color as the primary reason they buy a particular product. Do you guys think this is true?
Yeah, I definitely based on color. Most
I can
things.
definitely tell you with children, it's true for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to buy a tent on Amazon the other day, and I think half the reason you know, there's a bunch of choices, and the reason I picked the one I picked was because it had this cool neon green color. It was probably virtually identical, you know, in design to the other tents, but I like the color, right? Okay. Let's see, when people buy, 93% look at visual appearance, 6% look at texture, 1% decide on sound, smell. Research reveals people make a subconscious judgment about an environment or product within 90 seconds of initial viewing. Between 62% and 90% of that assessment is based on color alone. Okay, 80% think color increases brand recognition. 52% of shoppers did not return to a store due to overall aesthetics. Wow, isn't that interesting? I'll give you guys a case in point. Have you guys been to any malls recently? When you guys go to a mall?
Yeah.
So,
So
I live near Park Place Mall. And of course, if you go to the malls, you'll see a lot of empty slots because a lot of stores have closed because of the virus. And what that does, as I've said in the past, whenever, the virus, it kills certain businesses, but it creates opportunities for other ones, right? Like fast food or food delivery is on the boom, right? But there's this game store in Park Place, and I hadn't been there in a couple months, and I went there. I think it was last weekend or something like that, and it was gone. I was like, oh no, the game store is gone. I thought, oh my God, it's like, died the death like so many businesses. But then I went and there was a little note on the door that says, hey, we moved to another location in the mall. I'm like, oh, okay, good. So I went there and I got to see the new location. I got to compare it to the old location in my mind because I remember what the old one looked like. Well, the old one had like gray walls and sort of a cool, like it was kind of a cool coloration. You know what I mean by cool? Like not bright, but like blues and grays and stuff. And then they had this huge back room where people could play all kinds of games, And so I went over to their new space, and they had taken over this space, which was it was formerly a clothing store. So of course it had tons of lights, and the tile was this white reflective tile, and so the light in the space was incredible. It was like everything was lit up, and so you could go in, you could easily see all the information about the games and everything. But then in the back they had this tiny little back room. And I asked the manager, I'm like, hey, why did you switch? He goes, oh, this one has a lot more space in the front. So, obviously he made a good decision for himself because he's trying to get more sales, and the more product you can put in the front, great. And the better the lighting, the better people can see it, right? But then he kind of screwed the gamers who come in and play in the back because there's less space, but they're not really paying customers at that point. So, it was just interesting. It was interesting to see that transition. Okay, let's see. Ads in color read up to 42% more often than the same ads in black and white. Boy, that's an interesting statistic. Colors can improve comprehension, learning, and reading. Okay, anyway, so this next part is the part that we've seen before. It just talks about all the different colors and what they're associated with, like red is danger and emotion and stuff like that. This is pretty interesting too, though. I like that they give you all of these logos, and you don't think about it. You just see these logos all the time, but Rolling Stones, YouTube, Toyota, Coca-Cola, all these people that are in red, right? Okay, then yellow, of course, that's I think that's a cheerful color, a friendly color. And then we see all the different yellow logos here. Blue, of course, is a very stable, secure color. A lot of banks have blue logos. Like Ford probably has a blue logo to show that they're very stable. Dell, same thing, Then we have orange, which is once again a warm color. And then interesting, the people who have orange. Orange is a harder color, I think, to pull off in a logo. You can see a few people have it, probably most famously Amazon. Green, of course, is related to nature, and you can see all the people who have green in their logo. It's interesting that Starbucks would pick green. I guess that makes sense. A natural product, right? Spotify, who knows why they chose green? That's an interesting choice. Purple, of course, is the regal color. Taco Bell. Wow, I didn't really remember that Taco Bell was in purple. I guess they're the king of tacos.
it's new.
Is it new? The purple's new?
It's fairly new, within like the past like 8 years, maybe 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean they used to have like orange, red, and yellow, and all sorts of different
Yeah,
colors.
yeah, yeah. I remember that. It's very,
The older one, honestly.
very festive
I
logo.
think it was
I just
around.
light
It was
it
around the time. It was around 2000 when they started bringing the purple in. I think
Yeah.
around 2000 because I think it was around when they did the remakes of Star Wars. So
Oh, right.
Notice that a couple of these
Crown Royal.
logos actually have some kind of crown in them. Hallmark and Crown Royal. Because of course purple is the royal color. Okay, let's see. I'm just reading over this text here. Okay, it says, according to a study conducted by Adobe, more than 66% of web users judge a website on the quality of its graphics within the first 15 minutes of landing on the homepage. In a nutshell, the more people that find your website, the higher chances are that they will stay a little longer. That means you have a higher chance of converting them. Conversion, of course, it means making a sale. Okay, and so let's see. Pictures and graphics. It says the stock art trend has passed its heyday as more and more of us small businesses can take our own pictures. It's no longer cost prohibitive to hire a photographer to take pictures of your office and your team. If it's you and your iPhone, and if you have a good eye, your photos can go a long way towards communicating an authentic, solid first impression. So we see some examples here. That means if your first impression is that you're not real, why should anyone trust that your service is real? Okay, they mentioned to invest in a professional photographer if you can, because it's worth it. And first impressions with websites really matter. Okay, usability. And let's see. They say the wheel has already been invented. Long live the wheel. Websites too. Unless you're catering to an avant-garde crowd, the rest of us need a website that is as easily laid out as your conventional Target or Walmart. As soon as you step through the doors, the layout is simple. Checkout near the front. This is the place where you buy things. Ceiling signs indicating the sections of the store. A help desk even closer to the front than the checkouts. And enough information for you to make your own decisions and understand how things help you. Okay, it says a great website is intuitive and usable to everyone. It's taken us a decade or so, but most websites now have sifted out what works and what doesn't. And here are your general areas for great usability. Immediately communicate your purpose with clarity and an inviting tone. A simple, clear message that organizes the pages of the site with the most important first, nothing cutesy. A help desk feature, either with a contact page or contact details in the header and footer, or live chat so that people can get help. Enough information to help your visitor understand how things help them. A layout focused on ease of use and ease of reading. Keep things simple and to the point, and don't spend all your time talking about how amazing you and your services are. It says, imagine walking into Target and the first thing to greet you is a guy named LaShawn Williams who stops you in your tracks and then tries to take up a half hour of your time talking about his experience, how much he's going to love working with you, and why you should keep Target first in your mind. And all you're thinking is, I just wanted milk, shoes, and a throw rug. Your site should not be focused on what you think you want. It must be customer first. Make it easy to use. So make your menu site navigation prominent and simple. Keep your content distinct from other elements and easy to read. Make your buttons stand out. That's where the action happens. Decide what is most important on any page and give it prominence. Don't give everything the same attention. And don't put too much on the same page screen. The more you include, the more you split your visitor's attention. Okay, then they talk about consistency. Consistency is often forgotten, especially by particularly creative people. Consistent design allows the user to focus on the message. An inconsistent layout means that every page forces the visitor to stop, relearn the language, and then get back to absorbing what's important. Now, this is a good point because as designers, we sometimes might think, hey, I want to make every single page of my website a new experience, right? But as customers, if you can establish the layout of the site on the first page and then keep it consistent, it's easier for them to find things, for them to find the things they want. Um, a couple of years back, I was taking a course in writing, and one of my assignments had me study an issue of Highlights, a kids magazine. I was blown away by the sheer chaos and on every page. Every photo was at angles, the text was everywhere and mangled by different sizes, colors, and intruding shapes. I felt exhausted just trying to decipher everything on one page. And then I realized that their choice to do that was very clever. Our brains are sense-making machines. So we see something that we know is valuable to us, like a kid knowing that this magazine is going to be fun, and we put energy into studying and organizing it. Okay, it says, but what if you aren't convinced that it's important to you? We see sites like this all the time. They're crammed with ads and content, and each page is laid out differently. A visitor takes one look, within 7 seconds decides that it's going to take too much effort and leaves to find a website that's easier to absorb. Okay, so that means 7 seconds is how long you have to sell somebody on your website, and then they're off running. So what makes for consistent design on your website? First of all, decide your 3 tiers of importance: primary importance, secondary importance, and then deeper detail. Your headlines and above the fold areas should convey the content with primary importance. Then look at the rest of the page and structure it so that someone scanning it gets a clear sense of what's there to consume. A few years back, I was in a French boarding school and remember getting late to a class on Hungarian history. I think I was on wash-up crew after dinner. I slipped into the back of the room and watched as the teacher passionately wrote words on the board, underscored them to drive home their importance, and then returned to circle them crazily later, again to show how important they were. By the end of the class, which is when I got there, the board was covered in chalk bubbles. Everything was equally important, crammed into any available space. My mind didn't even get a chance to give up. I just didn't even try to decide which was more important, the date, the name, or the illegible something in the top right corner. And then they have a example here of a board that's got graffiti all over it. With your website, be careful about underlining everything, because when everything is underlined, nothing is. And also be careful about not underlining things enough, because then, once again, everything fades into a gray miasma, forcing the reader to stop and engage more than they have energy for. It's too easy to lose them. So design a layout that's easy to see, has strong contrast between your elements, and highlights the most important points. Once you've decided that language, keep that going through the rest of your website and all your marketing collaterals. For example, all your quotes might have a solid color background. Do that everywhere. All your headings might be a certain size and color. Keep it consistent. Your images might look good grayscale. Make a brand choice and then stick with it. At the end of the day, consistency in your website creates trust because it means you're not disorganized. Your visitor can trust that your service is as coherent and well constructed as your website. And then they give you an example here of a website that looks very consistent. Okay, so then let's sum up. So we got design and color, right? The colors that you use resonate with different feelings. Pictures and graphic, good photography brings instant visual appeal, class, and quality. Usability, help keep things easy to understand and conventional. And consistency, once you set up a language, keep that consistent everywhere. So, okay, so this is one of the articles that I thought was pretty good about web design and some visuals that are very appealing. We got another article here, and this is 6 tips for attractive web design. It says only add necessary elements that add value to your site. Once again, we have a similar statistic there about credibility, and half the users judge your site right away. Design for the user first, and this goes back to what I said before. When you're designing your site, think about who your customer is and design it for them, not necessarily for you. Colors align with your brand, we talked about. Photography and visual elements. Choosing the right font is obviously very important. Testing your website, and so on and so forth. So there's a few other issues there. Here's a third article that had some good points to it. And it's interesting because each of these websites is also very differently designed. Like this one's very attractive. And, just based on these articles we're reading, we're judging the websites that we're looking at the same way that they're talking about. So, I would judge this website maybe a little higher in credibility than the other ones because it's got a nicer design. So So they talk about, some of the same things, keeping it simple, using smart colors. They talk about white space and how important it is. Of course, making sure it's compatible with mobile is critically important. Optimizing loading time is something we haven't talked about. So there's plugins like some of the ones I showed you last week that will speed up your website. And those are really important, especially if you got a lot of content on your website. Easy navigation, we've talked about, good content. Of course, social media is critical for spreading the word about your website. And let's see, okay. Now, okay, so those 3 articles are interesting. You can go back and look at those if you want and get some tips off of them. There's also these web case design studies that I wanted to take a look at. The first study here, it says 6 web design case studies we can learn from. So let's see. All right, here we go. That's a pretty cool picture right there. Okay. So it says, we all know the importance of having a good online design portfolio. It's your opportunity to show off your masterpieces to the world while having full control over all aspects from the layout to animation, navigation, and more. This way, you can have an impact on the way your work is perceived and experienced by potential clients or employers. That's all very well, but when it comes to web design projects, why not simply add a link to the website itself and let your visitors browse freely over there? Sure, you should link to any websites you've designed, but there are many ways to effectively showcase your web design projects on your portfolio. Creating a case study that explains your work process and final results can elevate your projects to a whole other level. It can help your site visitors gain a better understanding of who you are, the way you work, your decision-making processes, and more. Just like any other design project, a case study should tell a story. It should take your site visitors on a journey through your process, from color palette choices to icons created specifically for the project, before and after pics, and more. We've gathered 6 designers who have chosen diverse ways to expertly showcase their web design projects on their Wix portfolios. Dive in for some inspiration. Okay, Brown Owl Creative for Creative House Group, showcasing custom-made icons and full-length screenshots. Okay, multidisciplinary design company Brown Owl Creative chose to place a full-screen GIF, or GIF, on the top fold of this project page, instantly setting the tone. Directly beneath, a brief sentence introduces the client they were working with, plus the discipline involved, and a link to the final result, the website itself. A generous use of white space helps put the focus on the text. Scrolling down, you'll find full-length screenshots of their website design with a simple, non-obtrusive gray border. They've also chosen to display a section of the client's website on a laptop, offering an alternative perspective. Another nice touch is the emphasis they put on 3 animated icons that are featured on the final site. And let's not forget the basic UX, okay, which is usability, right, principle. They've taken care of a back to top button and a next project button to ensure fluid navigation. So let's see what this little video is here. Let me try and make this a little bigger so it's easier for you guys to see. Okay. Okay, so lots of cool stuff there. Let's look at it again. So they start out with, the big graphic at the top, which grabs your attention in the green background. And then underneath, they show the full website with this gray border around everything. These animated icons are really cool. I like those a lot. And then the laptop, the view of it on a laptop. And then, of course, they give you a link to the next project. So very attractive. You guys, if you want to be web designers and get work, either get hired by a company or do freelance, it's important that your website have a good looking portfolio on it. And this is a good example of how to display some of your work. Okay, next, Mickey Chworsky for Nosta Fragrances, merging video screenshots with atmospheric photos. There are many subtle additions to NYC-based designer Mickey Tversky's portfolio that make it such a success. The comic footer, delightfully honest about pages, and spacious layout make for a browsing experience that is both smooth and entertaining. It comes as no surprise that her inner project pages are crafted with just as much care and attention to detail. This web design case study starts with a mood-setting image, followed by a brief explanation of the brand and some additional basic details, such as the date, her roles within the project, and any other contributors. A slider invites you to scroll through to view the various stages involved in the logo design process. Further down, Mickey has seamlessly integrated video screenshots of the website, enabling her to choose which aspects of the design to put the spotlight on. The page ends with a few product photos that help strengthen the look and feel and tie everything together while presenting more of her branding work. Okay, so let's look for all that cool stuff. So first we have the big color background here and the website itself. Oh, cool. And you can pull that little slider to see the changes. These are some product shots. The footer's got a giant foot on it. That's pretty cute, huh? I guess it's a giant leg with a foot. So yeah, very nice. Okay, next, Adele Wang for Humley. Through case study incorporating text, images, and videos. A thorough case study. San Francisco-based product designer Adelaide Wang definitely knows the ins and outs of creating an intriguing and comprehensive case study. Having worked on many aspects of this project for Humley's music healthcare platform and app, she was able to share her and her team's full work process. The long scrolling page takes you on a journey through some of the major stages of any design project. It starts by presenting their search for a defined visual identity. It then moves on to the details of the app's various screens and navigation, putting an emphasis on the accessibility of the website's design. Lastly, Adelaide presents the website itself on various devices, including a video screenshot of the website on mobile. A consistent layout is used throughout the page with titles, subtitles, and paragraph text, all retaining the same style. Two alternating shades of gray make up the website's background, creating a clear but subtle separation between folds and ultimately contributing to a successful user experience. Okay, so let's look at this one. Nice. So, it looked like there's a lot of cool stuff in this. Obviously it's an app. It looks like it's a app that heals you through music. They show all the different colors and the icons. Here's screenshots of the app and then explanations. And then they show the app itself, a few of the pages, maybe a dark background for the app. And then finally the whole app with someone supposedly paging through it. So that's a very attractive. Okay, next, Studio and More for DIN7, presenting color choices, logo design, and more. Here's another example of a detailed web design case study by graphic design studio, Studio and More. In this project for our industrial design company, DIN7, they worked on both branding and UX. As a result, they had the material necessary to cover everything from color palette and typography choices to the development of the company's logo design, illustration style, website, and various applications of the visual identity. Each section of the case study is numbered and presented with a succinct selection of images. They've also used the visual language they came up with for the brand in the background, creating a strong and clearly defined tone of voice. Lastly, the studio has picked out a few of their website design screens to showcase separately, drawing attention to them. Okay, so here's DIN7. Let's look at them. Actually, you know what? Maybe I can give you guys even a better view of this stuff. All right, this will be better. Okay, once again, very nice and attractive stuff there. Sorry, I should have done the full screenshots earlier. I just didn't think of it. Okay, we got two more examples, two more of these studies. Ariel's son for her wedding website, telling a story through text and images. NYC-based artist and designer Ariel's son created this web design case study for her own wedding website. There are many ways to write copy for your design portfolio, and here Ariel's gone for a friendly and personal tone of voice to provide site visitors with an inviting summary of the project. She's also clearly explained what her and her partner's different roles were in the process, giving everyone the credit they deserve. Two simple static screenshots of the website design follow, presenting the most prominent pages of the site. These are accompanied by an illustration of the couple and an image of the wedding invitation, helping us get a feel for the vibe they were going for. All of this is presented in a highly aesthetic way, using a clean grid plus a fixed menu at the top for comfortable navigation. Okay, so let's see. D Streeter says they sure like the solid fill backgrounds. They do look nice though. Okay, so you're talking about that last one. Yeah, it does look nice. Okay, Sean says he lives near Park Place too. Hey, Sean, we're neighbors. It says they might have a location at Tucson Mall as well. Might still. Yeah, the game store does have. I think it's called. It's not GameStop. No, is it? I don't remember what it's called. Oh, Tucson Games and Gadgets. They have a Park Place store and one in Tucson Mall. Okay, but let's look at this one. Remember, this is for the wedding site. Let's check this guy out. Okay, so lots of very personal imagery in there. The two birds kissing. Oh, check this out. Of course, notice that the two birds are kind of kissing and there's a little heart shape between them. So, this whole thing is, she'll design a website for you or invitations for your wedding or whatever. And she's using her wedding as an example. And this is really beautiful, this solid color illustration here. Let's move forward a little bit. So let's see, here she talks a little bit about her process. It says, we like everything simple, minimalistic, a little unconventional. I came up with a seagull concept as well as the illustrations. I also fused some traditional Chinese wedding design elements into the theme. Sai Ming, having escaped a PhD program in anthropology, put his intensely trained writing skills into crafting the copy for the site. So they talk about the different roles each of them played, and it's nice how little text there is, but the text is set up in these little vertical blocks, which make it like a graphic and make it interesting. And remember, we spend more time on graphics than text. So if you make your text, in the shape of a graphic or make it interesting in its layout, we're probably going to pay more attention to it. Let's see what's next. Okay, so there's how the illustration combined with the invitation. And there's their names and some of the information right there. And then this is, I guess, where the reception is all I can guess. I can't really see very well the text, but this is also very elegant and minimalistic. It goes with the rest of the design. And then, oh, this is interesting. I didn't know that it was going to be a vertical layout like that. I assumed it was going to be horizontal because the way we're looking at it. But this shows the invitation itself in a beautiful blue envelope and a little illustration of them. Love those blues, says Trevor. Yeah, it really is incredibly very attractive. And, if you put up a website this beautiful for a specific purpose, like, preparing wedding invitations and or wedding websites for people, my guess is you get some business because it's very attractive. Okay, let's see. We got one more case study here. Lyron Ashkenazi. I can pronounce that last name because it's the same last name as the guy who cuts my hair. for the artery, including mobile and tablet view, process, and more. Multidisciplinary design director Liron Ashkenazi worked with a team of 3D artists, designers, and developers to come up with the award-winning design for the Arteries website. Liron's case study of the project is made up of a selection of beautifully designed screenshot videos, short explanatory titles, the 3D model design process, and accompanying text. The layout is concise while including all the relevant details. A thin column on the left provides us with background information on the client, the artery, as well as a breakdown of the various roles and the people involved. It also includes a list of links where the website has been featured. Scrolling down the page, you see the development of the 3D animated models that appear on the final website. There's also an image that showcases the website on 3 different devices, incorporating elements from the design outside of the screenshots. This makes for an intriguing visual representation over the overall project. The text above and on each of the images clarifies which page you're looking at and who's responsible for which elements, while not distracting from the design itself. Finally, Liron has included the design for a 404 page, a welcome addition, especially when it looks this good. Now, I think what we'll do this time is, well, kind of like what we did last time, we'll play the whole thing just by itself, and then we'll go through it again, stopping to look at the details. So let me make it big. Okay, and here we go. Okay, I just noticed this little text down at the bottom. It says, "Don't steal anything." Duh. Pretty funny. Okay, so let's go through this a little bit at a time. So first of all, that's a pretty arresting image. The look of like an ancient sort of sculpture with some goggles, eye goggles on it that you can't even see out of. That's pretty interesting. And this, of course, is an interesting image, which is a compilation of some of the ones below. This moving 3D thing is just cool as heck. You know, that would definitely grab your attention. And then, of course, non-moving but beautifully laid out 3D images. And so, you know, you can look at each one of these and they're so beautiful. I mean, the choices that they made about, in this case, a light gray background color with this beautiful blue and this copper color is just stunning. You can see the difference between how it looks on black versus this, and it's very elegant on the light color, I think. Once again, we have some these are smaller boxes with individual things turning around. This image down here is really cool. The way that it opens up and the way that this moves up, that looks really cool to me. And then we've got the 3D turnaround guy there. So yeah, lots of cool stuff on that site. Okay, and yeah, that is it for the case study there. And let's see, which one was that? Was that the second study? Yeah, so, and then this is the final, the third study. So the Museum of Science and Industry of Chicago. I'm sorry, all the ads are forcing my webpage all over the place. It's really annoying. For a really inspiring case study, it's hard to beat Dog Studio's extensive piece chronicling its work for the Museum of Science and Industry of Chicago. The museum is a vast and highly respected American institution, and you can't help but get the impression that Dog Studio is punching well above its weight when it won the commission to rethink and revamp its web platform. But as this case study reveals, it carried the job off with a plum. So let's, wow, this web page by itself is annoying. I hate these stupid pop-up ads. They're killing me. But let's look at this cool loading screen. Okay, so rethinking, redesigning, improving the website of the great and famous Museum of Science and Industry of Chicago. There's some sound effects back there. Okay, they say, imagine a place as big as 400,000 square feet, full of amazing wonders such as an indoor real-life tornado simulator. I'm going to turn the sound effects down a little bit. An authentic World War II German submarine. We're talking about a place where kids and their entire families are not allowed to touch what they see, but are not only allowed to touch what they see, but are even encouraged to experiment everything they can. Yeah, what a difference considering what most other museum experiences are like. Okay, and Trevor says, dig this sound effects, provides an immersive experience. So let's see up here. Wow, look at that picture, you guys. Man.
That's crazy.
If that doesn't make you want to visit this museum, nothing will. That's amazing. So, and then here they have, you know, 3 different areas where they talk about the development of this to strategy, design, and web. Of course, we're seeing some pages scrolling up and down through here. Look at how beautiful that is. Really amazing stuff. It's very clever to show quotes from visitors. Wow, just gorgeous, man. Okay, so then they're showing photography from the site. Counting on more than 5 million annual online visitors. Wow, 5 million online visitors? You may want the website to act as a perfect companion before and after your guest visit, with everything ranging in buying your tickets to planning your visit through a series of relevant information about exhibit schedules and parking and so on. Okay, extraordinary journey of regular customer. After a few days of workshopping to gather all the crucial information we needed to get started, we focused on several main angles. On one side, we worked on the creation of a simple but comprehensive user experience for a really broad set of potential visitors, ranging from super moms, aren't they all, having to figure out how to feed their newborn in the museum while retaining their own sanity, to couples on a honeymoon trying to milk every single minute of their last day in Chicago before heading to their next destination. All these customers with their own very specific needs had to be provided with the right tools to understand, plan, and purchase their experiences in the museum. So here they did what you might call a wireframe. And what that is it's just a bunch of layouts, you know, for the website that not only would help them test the concepts, but would allow them to show the customer and client get their feedback. So you can see all these different layouts for different types of pages. Okay, leave a mark. If life gives you lemons, make lemonade, but when it decides to give you raw pictures of U-boat, you have to focus on putting together engaging illustrations representing the most major exhibits in movement, all in an inspiring context. This is how we created a series of illustrated cinematograph to represent all major exhibits. Those illustrations would later be used as headers for all the exhibit pages. So a cinematograph is basically like, it's like an animated GIF. What it is you take a photograph and you put some type of animation into it, whether it's like a still photo of a woman standing in a field and just her hair is blowing, right? And it's pretty easy to do. You can actually make them in Photoshop. In fact, I think in my Adobe InDesign class, no, not InDesign, sorry, After Effects, we made some cinemagraphs. Okay, and you can see here that the cinemagraph is quite simple. It's just these moving lights at the top and also some companion moving lights down below. But it's so effective. I mean, it's subtle, but it's very, very effective. Let's see now. I see a little thing. there's a little dot in the corner that's sending out these radio waves, and it's making me think I should do something there. Oh, this is the sound. That's what this is. This is showing me that the sound is playing, and if I want to turn it off, then I can click that. So I'm going to turn the sound up and then click this. And sure enough, now that's a very intuitive interface. It didn't show a speaker icon. It just showed a little dot and then little like radio waves coming out from it. And I intuited what it was, what it meant. So that's very clever. Okay, so let's look at these different cinemagraphs. So here's another one with just a little bit of animation, and it's just gorgeous, isn't it? Let's see, Trevor said, dig the sound effects, provides an immersive experience. Well, two things on my Chicago list, the museum and deep dish pizza. Yeah, say no more. Okay. Wow, that is just gorgeous. I can't get over how good that looks. Here's another one with a little plume of steam coming up, it looks like, or smoke. Now, what are we seeing? Oh, there's the animation. There's steam rising from the train. Very subtle. Okay. And then the last one, once again with light, changing the light in the case. Very nice. Okay, so here we see an example of one of the web pages, or example of several of the web pages. Very nice use of monotone there, taking all the blues and making the whole web page out of it and still making everything readable and usable. Nice big quote. This, of course, is about history, and they had some animations there. And of course, some of these things we see, like the animated graphics, those are available to you guys through Elementor. There's lots of existing animations you can do on web pages now that are just built into the devices we're using, the software we're using. So they talk about how a big chunk of their energy got spent on carefully crafting highly immersive exhibit pages while building a design language which is both consistent and understandable. Starting from scratch, we had to make sure the elements we were building made sense when it came to delivering on a large-scale platform and regarding a large number of potential customers. Moreover, we knew those pages would later be fully CMS manageable, extending the challenge to a whole different scale. So think about the size of this museum, and then you got to make all these beautiful pages that cater to all these clients' needs. But then you also have to think about the back end needs. I'm sorry, you're making pages that work for the customers who are coming to the museum. But then you have to make the website also work for the client, because a huge museum like this has a bunch of different departments and a bunch of different department heads and subheads and workers. And some of those people are going to be assigned to update the website. So CMS, of course, stands for Content Management System. And that's what WordPress is. That's what any of these pieces of software are. You have to develop the pages in such a way it's easy for people to update them. You can see some of the beautiful colors in the design here. These are some of the exhibits, those little squares that we saw. And here they give us, well, it's just basically a scrolling thing that shows all the different capabilities of the website. Really, really amazing, beautiful colors, appealing to children, but also adults, Okay, here's a nice page with the ship on it. There's that beautiful photo we saw before. Says, of course, all the content and all the experiences was not only optimized for mobile, but was also clearly imagined and crafted to ensure the same immersive experience you would get on desktop. More than ever, the tools we built needed to be easy to use and accessible. Okay. So here is, and it's always a good idea if you're doing a presentation like this on your design to show not only how it looks on the desktop, but on mobile too. So there we see at the top an angled shot of it. Here we see some of the pages, and we can see that they're very consistent, right, with the website itself, and also very usable. It says, finally, the website also displayed a wide range of smaller and bigger tools to enable any visitor's needs to be answered. Planning your visit while sorting out the kind of content you wouldn't want to see, and skipping lines at the museum by buying tickets online for your perfect Nutella family. Okay, and so this shows us some of the tools that they built in the website, like the search functions, the small menus, the drop-down menus. Here are some easily accessible forms. Here's more drop-down menus with different colors. And here are, wow, this is really cool. They give you a little survey if you're planning to visit the museum, and they ask you specific questions, and then that points you in the direction of, you know, what kind of visit you might want to plan. How many people in your group? How much time do you want to spend there? Really, really cool. And there you go. It's showing it in action. Yeah, so your homework, everybody's homework is to go to Chicago and visit this museum at some point in your life.
I'm looking at my tickets right now. Hold on.
Yeah, you can probably, considering how bad the airlines are doing right now, you can probably get tickets for $20.
You'd be surprised how expensive they went back to.
Yeah.
They actually got expensive again.
And then here's a nice quote. This is a clever way to end your study.
Don't tell my work.
Yeah, they have a quote by the client. Reconcepting a huge museum site like ours is no small feat. Dog Studio was a thoughtful, collaborative, and incredibly creative partner throughout the entire process. We couldn't be more pleased with the result. Really clever to put that at the end. Oh, wow, this is even better. Look, percentages just showing the value of their service. 16% more visit intent. I'm not sure what visit intent means. 35% raise on online sales. Yeah. And then you can go here to see their next case study. Okay. Anyway, really, truly awesome stuff there. Now there's a couple more examples on this page, but you know, I've been chatting with you guys for a while now. I don't want to wipe out your attention to this topic, but maybe on your own, you can go to this case study and check out some of these other pages. This one about Yellowstone. Here's one for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. If you enjoyed the movie, maybe you'll like the website. The British Red Cross, Stonewall, and so on and so forth, right? Okay, so yeah, if you get a chance, check out those websites, those case studies. There's really good stuff in there for you to look at. Okay, does anybody have any questions? Dylan, did you actually get anything done that you want us to look at, or?
Yeah, I have some stuff on my my homepage, and then some stuff on my shop pages laid out so far.
Ah, Okay, this is you?
Yes.
Okay. Let me make sure I'm viewing this at the correct size. Okay, I am. All right. So Old Soul, Field of Dread, that's your clothing company. And then there is a cool shirt. All right, it's the end of the world as we know it giveaway. And then let's see. Oh, is this how many days and hours we have left?
Until the end of the project.
Oh, I thought until the end of the world. I was like, holy God.
Right.
That's clever. That's clever to have a counter there until your project is due. Okay, so this looks good. What do you guys think? Do you like where Dylan is? I don't know if you remember some of his earlier graphics. Certainly this area has improved a lot. It's very readable. Let's see. Daniel says he likes the logo with the sizing and everything. Trevor likes the layouts coming into form very well. I would agree. It's definitely finding its stride, I would say. Now, are there other pages we should look at, Dylan?
I have like some stuff laid out. I just need to put in a little more images, to be honest.
Oh, do you want me to click on any other page, or did you just want us to look at this one?
You can look at the. Hold on, let me see what it. You can look at the bestsellers page real quick, because I have some images on there.
Okay.
Which I'm gonna change to probably the Halloween. I'm gonna add in a Halloween page for that giveaway. So I'm gonna make a extra page for the giveaway.
Okay. Now, are these actual shirts that you're making, or are they just graphics you found?
Well, I drew all the graphics, and then I found mock-ups on Mockup Tree.
Yeah, what's the name of that site again? I always forget. Mockup what?
Mockup Tree.
Mockup Tree. Okay, great. I got to write that down because I was trying to look for it the other day. I was like, oh, what the hell is that called? I can't find it when I do searches for it. Yeah, well, it looks good. I like your graphics, and that Mockup Tree find was a brilliant find. I'm definitely going to use that myself. Yeah, well, cool. Well, it's looking good. I'd say keep up the good work. Nice color palette, nice graphics here. It's very intriguing. I look forward to seeing all the designs you're going to put up there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything they want to share with us or questions they want to ask? Okay.
You can look at mine if anyone has feedback.
Let's see. So we can look at yours. Ooh. This looks much more fleshed out. Wow. Nice sidebar here, and then content on the left. That looks like a big improvement, Ariana. Oh, and we got a beautiful little logo here. Wow. Wow. Big improvement. Now, are there any other pages we should look at, or is it just this front one?
You can check the other pages. There's only 2 that aren't done, but everything else is complete. Or almost. Just needs like polishing.
There's one of them. Of course, it's the first one I click on. Okay, this is that beautiful layout that has all the little sort of mosaics on the left. You find the best pictures. Is it fun, like surfing the web for cat pictures?
It was very entertaining.
That's a good gig if you can get it. Aw, cute. And then social, huh? Wow. Man, this is looking so good. And really, I know how hard it was at the beginning because you had those, those issues with the one theme, but I think you've really done a good job here. Now, something interesting happened though. When I clicked the home link, it went to a page that doesn't have the header on it. So you might want to check that link right there and make sure that it's going to this here.
Okay.
And by the way, do you know how you can create a custom link on your menu?
No.
Okay, let me show you real quick. So if I go down to my menus here, you know, I can click on any of these pages or view all the pages in the site or search for a page. And then once I find the page I want, I can just click on it and add it to the menu. It'll show up down here and I can put it whatever order I want, right?
Mhm.
Let's say I have a problem. Like, let's say, you know, I'm in a situation like yours where when I click on the home link, it takes me somewhere else, not necessarily the home page. I can make a custom link, put it on my menu and get rid of the link that's bad. So that's down here under custom links, right? So what you do is you say, okay, I want to make a link that's going to go to my homepage. So in my case, that page would be, let's see. Yeah, dreamco.com/Pima, right? Now, what I would do, the link text, which is going to show up on the menu, is going to say home, right? So what I do is I click add to menu. It adds this new link here. And what I can do is I can trash this by hitting remove and then take this one and just move it up there. And now the link, you know, on all the pages of the website will take me right to my homepage. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah. So, but I think it looks really good. You're doing an excellent job. I can't wait to see the last couple of pages being finished. Okay, great job, you guys. So if you get a chance, spend some time this weekend working on your websites. Remember, they're due a week from today. You know, if you'd like, have some stuff to show us on Tuesday. I'm sorry. Well, I guess we're not meeting on Tuesday. So I guess you pretty much have to get it all done within the next week, and then we'll see it next Thursday. So have a great weekend, guys, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.